tested for them. Have they made enough inroads, or have the likes of the DA and the EFF perhaps set up the right notions to keep themselves in power in certain factions in certain parts of the country there? How difficult will it be to maintain certain segments, parts of South Africa for the likes of the ANC? It is one that I think some may even have said that despite the voter turnout, of course, whatever the number is, it still does give some sentiment with regards to how strong the voting in itself has been in terms of support for the likes of the ANC, the DA, and even the EFF there as well. So those seem to be the front runners at present, but of course in certain areas things change along, and we'll continue to get exactly how things are faring thus far. As usual though, my colleague Simpiwe Ngongwana is standing by on the floor here at the Results Operations Center in Pretoria. Simpiwe, I'll cross over to you now. You're still speaking to those political parties on the floor. Exactly what do you have for us now?
All right, Arabila, thank you so much. Indeed, I'm coming from the floor of the Rock at the IEC in Pretoria. It is almost 5 a.m. It is a dawn. It is a new day. But what is not clear is, would it be a new dawn for some of the political parties contesting power in the 2019 general elections? Well, we'll definitely find out either on Saturday or on Sunday when the announcement will be made. But let's quickly chat to some of the parties that have been contesting this year's election. I'm going to start with the African Security Congress, and I'm joined by Mr. Tebogo Saidi. A very good morning to you, Mr. Saidi. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Hey, thank you, man. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? How are we faring so far?
Hey, but we are not doing bad. See, we have not reached the million mark as yet. And as a new kid on the block, we are standing our ground and doing partially very well. You know, considered all the facts, we are actually not doing that badly. But we are still standing. Let's see how the board goes. At least let's start talking again after 6 o'clock and see how the votes are coming.
Yeah, it's still too early. Still too early to say. I mean, it's 887,867 votes have been counted so far. As a new kid in the block, what is it that you stand for?
We are a sectoral organization. We represent security officers, and we have made it very clear that we want to see a better life for them. You know, the industry has been forgotten. These people are earning peanuts, and their kids, are unable to even go attend better schools. They are living in squalors and everything else. And we want to see their life a little bit changing. Having, they need to at least earn a better salaries, be able to afford proper housings, be able to feed their families. And that is what basically we are fighting for. If we can achieve that and be able to represent them within the legislative frameworks of this country, we will be able to better their lives. And that is our major goal.
So how has voting been so far, and what kind of challenges did you face?
You know, as much as we know that the big organizations have been bullying us everywhere, we do not have many resources as they do, and the campaigning has not been that much fair for small organizations. But we cannot complain. Unfortunately, it's everybody's game. So we have learned our lessons. We will do better next time, and we will be able to understand the name of the game better in the future.
Okay, so are you at all confident that things will change?
I am. As I'm saying, you can look at the board. So we are not doing that badly for somebody who's new, somebody who did not have that much resources to campaign. At least the people that we represent have understood our message, and they are actually showing that they understand exactly what we stand for and what we want to represent. So they have given us their votes. The only thing that we can sit and hope for is that come tomorrow, this time around, we'll be talking a different language.
So next time, for those who may not buy into you, your vision for now, for this year's election, what is it that you're going to do differently in order to entice and attract them to your party?
We started our campaign very late. And as I'm saying, we do not have much resources. The thing that we can do differently is to try and reach as many people as we possibly can. As I said, we are a sectoral organization. We will then just need to make sure that we go directly to where they are. Because, you know, security officers are people that work 12 hours a day. They are not around every time. We cannot do door-to-door to get hold of them. So we just need to understand where they are better in order for us to make sure that they get our message there.
Mr. Saidi, all the best. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to ask you to step aside so I could have a conversation now with Mr. SABC, who is the acting Secretary General of the National Freedom Party. Well, it's safe to say that is actually the offshoot of the Inkatha Freedom Party. A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Well, thanks. How are you?
Good. How are you? How are you faring? How are you doing so far?
Well, I think we are trying and definitely we will get there. We are working towards getting 10 seats in our National Assembly and hopefully we'll make it to that target that we have set for ourselves.
Yeah, I see that the NFP has already scored 1,040 votes nationally, and in KwaZulu-Natal, the NFP, let me have a look at that. In the KwaZulu-Natal province, you have scored a 565. Are you at all happy?
No, just rest assured, we are coming. So when you see these KwaZulu-Natal results, most of our stronghold areas have not yet shown up. So once they come up, you will see the number, then will come up and will increase automatically. Even the national will come up.
Do you think that what has been happening within the NFP contributed to the low voter turnout and as well as the kind of results that we see on the board right now? I know it's still too early to say, but if we just look at the margin between the other parties in KwaZulu-Natal, for instance.
Yeah, we can have that 2016 factor, but we have just put that aside. It is just bridge under water. I mean, it is water under bridge, so we are survivors, then I'm sure we'll make it. Although there were some problems, even the financial constraints, but we have tried very hard to come up and do our campaigns. So during our campaigns, we've tried very much to convince our supporters that we are back now. We have tried to solve all those problems that have been with us for quite some long time. We are strong, we are back. And we are saying this is a payback period. We are preparing for 2021. We'll be very strong.
And I do understand that there's been talks or negotiations over succession within the party. Can you confirm those?
Well, I'm not sure about those talks because I'm standing with you now, our president will still stand as a president, and then the other NEC members will decide who is coming or who is the deputy, who is the chairperson and all other positions. But for now, as per our constitution, the president will still stand as our president. She will not be contested.
Are you at all threatened by the dominance of the ANC, maybe the IFP perhaps?
No, we are not at all. We are not threatened.
What is it that you're going to do differently? What is it that you have promised to your voters?
Well, we are going to be the mouthpiece of those who cannot talk. We are going to defend the poor of the poorest. So our advocates will be we'll be looking at the rural development. We'll fight for those people from rural areas and those who are living in townships who have been neglected for all this time.
Mr. SABC, thank you so much for joining us. That is the acting Secretary General of the National Freedom Party, the NFP, Mr. Mzwakhe SABC. All right, Arabile, it's now back to you.
Yeah, my colleague Simpiwe Ngongwana there, of course, on the floor here.